Before Black Panther, the comic book hero, who was a black leader who younger children of color could look up to? Who were heroes who showed strength, leadership, and lived in a community? Heroes who looked like me. I remember going to watch Black Panther for the first time with my mom and little brother. Sitting amongst so many black people in the audience was a moment in time that I will never forget. I felt collective pride, a sense of joy, and a connection to a world where black people are the heroes and owners of our own destinies. Wakanda is a true representation of black people's utopia, where we are engineers, scientists, leaders, and protectors, and much more. So I ask you, how can we create a world that gives black voices the space to truly be free and make this world a real representation of our genius? I grew up watching Spider-Man. In fact, I secretly wished I was bitten by a radioactive spider as a kid, thinking it would give me superpowers. Does that sound weird? Well, as children, we long for a sense of connection to those who are similar to us and trying to have community outside of ourselves. Me, I looked up to Spider-Man before Black Panther. But when Marvel Studios invented a character, Miles Morales, who had brown skin, brown eyes, and an afro, just like me, I was the happiest kid. Imagine seeing someone for the first time as the main character. Now imagine never seeing someone that looks like you on the big screen. It would suck, right? One more story. Any Harry Potter fans? Yeah. My favorite series is Harry Potter. I've continued to read and watch it since I was 7 years old to this day. Though the only character I can identify with personally was the side character Dean Thomas, who ultimately disappears in the story and stays in the background. Yet I had everyone at a summer camp calling me Dean. Funny, right? I wish I could pretend to be one of the main characters, but it just wouldn't feel right. How can we change this and put more positive images into young kids' minds like my own? Why do kids from marginalized communities need examples of strong, educated, and community-oriented leaders? Well, because the alternative today are sports players and rappers as the only option. Shout out to Barack Obama. He was in office a year before I was born and left office when I was 7 years old. Before him, my mom and grandma never thought a black man would lead such a powerful country in their lifetime. Obama made law school, became president, and became a great father and husband, a reality for young black and brown children across America. Obama is a true representation of what we can achieve. So I ask you today, how can black Americans continue to educate themselves and create a world where narratives are created to represent our true belonging and community rather than stories of stereotypes? To answer this question, we first need to understand what is a community. A community, by definition, is a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. Using this definition, we could design a community where people feel fellowship rather than anger at each other. My overall goal is to have fewer poverty-stricken areas as a result of systemic policies. To do this, we need to make it easier for young black and brown children of America to graduate and become successful. To do this, we have to help them reach their full potential. This is done by teaching them their hidden history, as our history is not just slavery, but our kingdoms that our ancestors built, or our engineers and scientists, like Lewis Latimer, who created light bulbs from using things like cotton seeds. This is an example of black history that is not taught in core schooling standards in America. Not teaching us our hidden history has too often not enabled us to graduate with a firm footing in traditionally white industrialization. My goal today is to speak to the younger generation of black and brown children of America and tell them that they can reach their full potential. Wakanda does not have to be a fantasy. Thank you.